Greetings and salutations. I am here to bring up a bit of an important point, the importance of reading. And I'm going to bring it up with an example of recent events in the entertainment media, namely television, and one example which is ablaze on Twitter, and that is the Game of Thrones TV series, which is based on the book series. We began with A Song of Ice and Fire, which was later either renamed or had the tag of Game of Thrones stuck on it, just so people could figure out what it is without actually having to do any research. Let's put things into a bit of clarity, shall we? It was thanks to someone on Twitter who pointed me in the right direction, or basically a Twitter called the Red Wedding, which is gathering together pretty much all the tweets from the Game of Thrones fan base on the outcry of the latest episode to be aired. And before actually getting any details of the episode, I'm going to get into 5 examples of these tweets that are appearing. George R.R. Martin is a horrible man. Tears, as your tears. Dang you, George R.R. Martin. Why must you kill characters we like? This was one of the worst things I've watched. One of the worst things I've read. You're an SLB, George R.R. Martin. We can cancel HBO. There's no point to continue season final of Game of Thrones. I'm very upset at how this turned out. I need to throw up and succumb to the impending panic attack brought on by tonight's Game of Thrones. I'm so devastated. Game of Thrones is a series, famous, infamous, whatever, for its use of nudity, character death, and it even has some incest going on in there, plus along with notable bouts of violence, and in this case, a major count of violence. People who would have read the books would have known this was coming. Doing a bit of research on it, I see, at least on 3 different occasions, that this particular event that fans were either dreading or anticipating. Fans who have read the books, who know that this massacre was just around the corner. Some fans have been responding to these retweeted tweets on the Red Wedding as, you didn't read the books, did you? And gone about, but the worst thing's going on is, you're missing the incest then. That seemed to be a major part of the first one. I don't know about this thing. I am merely going on about the aftermath of this, because this is what I know. I don't read the books, I haven't followed the TV series. But this is just a bloody reminder to the fan base that this is the nature of this series. It is brutal. How brutal is it? I went looking for a list of character deaths throughout the book series. I found a list that's as long as my arm of named characters who died. They don't even count the unnamed characters who snuffed it. And this is a series people are going to get into. This is brutal. It's harsh. It covers things that are taboo and all that lot. It takes the fantasy out of a fantasy series, and dear God, it slaps you around the face so many times before actually breaking out the mace to finish the job. Now, as I said before, anyone who read the book series, I believe the particular title in question is The Sword and the Storm, would have known this was coming. While doing a bit of research, I actually found someone on Tumblr who said their dad read this book. They reached this particular section, they put the book down, and they did not return to it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! I must say, this has some impacts behind this. Had people been reading the books, had people actually chosen to read in the books rather than say, no, I'm not reading this, they would have known this was coming. They would have known to brace themselves for this impact, instead of just going in blind, going in cold, and getting slapped full in the face with a gauntleted fist, with how harsh this massacre of an event was going to be. Some are going on about how they are done with the series, declaring the hatred for Martin over what he has done, and how mentally they are broken this episode has made them. But by all accounts, by all this, it sounds like this series did something horribly right. Throughout the writing, they have given people characters they care about, up until the point they're snuffed out, creating an emotional reaction, and slapping in the face the fan base that basically this is the truth of the series, this is the nature of this topic you are so passionate about. You should have seen something like this coming. Before I wrote down I was wondering about the aftermath of the book series, of those who reacted to the original bit, and a few things I haven't put down in my notes is, one, someone died because they was stabbed in the TV series, but people put it down through Tumblr and other bits, they were set upon by a dog instead, making it all the much more nastier. And for the television series, someone's son was originally killed by the stabbing. Not this time. Someone's pregnant wife, was the one to be stabbed to death. This is going to have some major fallout, because how do you get something like this on television? How? But ultimately, you refuse to read, thus you don't know. You don't know half of it, because ultimately bits and pieces will be missing. The television series cannot include everything from the books, for the sake of budget, time and all that lot. Limitations exist. I can only imagine that what has been said about the reaction from the books is only just tip of the iceberg. Because we're only hearing about what has been said, the reactions that have been appearing on Twitter, on Tumblr, their videos appearing on YouTube. But what about the reactions that are not shared? What about those who have been shocked into utter silence? I shall give you this quote from George R.R. Martin regarding the Weddle Wedding. "That was the hardest scene I've ever had to write. It's 2/3 of the way through the book, but I skipped over it when I came to it. So the entire book was done and there was still that one chapter left. Then I wrote it. It was like murdering 2 of your children. I had to make the readers feel they lived the events of the book. Just as you grieve if a friend is killed, you should grieve if a fictional character is killed. You should care if someone dies and you just go get more popcorn. It's a superficial experience, isn't it? People may call him horrible, but he did what he needed to for this scene. This was about making an impact. This, I imagine, is a major turning point in the plot. And for anyone who wants to give up on the series now, all I suggest is, don't. You don't know what's going to happen next. It may get worse, it may get better. You have to take that chance to see where it goes. Because how will you know, how will you understand if you don't see how this series ends? This experience has so much more thrown into it than you could ever just see the visual. And from what I've heard, the HBO actually changed aspects regarding the wedding, besides the stabbing victim going from the son to the pregnant wife. If you're going to get into a series, try getting into the original source material. Because I feel, in terms of that, you get to know more about the series than a television or film will give you. One such example, as badly translated, is Harry Potter films. Because there are aspects out of that are either going to be missing, as I've heard, where explanations are missing, some things redone, and all that malarkey. A Game of Thrones, or whatever the series is known in book form, has never given me the impression of being something pleasant or being something nice. I cannot remark about this situation, about the event itself. As I said before, I don't follow the books, I don't follow the television series. Nothing about this series appeals to me. And for the fan base, who it does appeal to, for all I've heard about it, you didn't see this coming. You didn't see something of this scope to some degree coming. Well, I've enough of me ramblings for now. I wish I could have made a better job for this, but quite a far more research. I'm more in the know. More than I'm willing to go into this. So, for those who are thinking of quitting the series, don't. Try giving it another try. See where this is all going. See where the conclusion is. Because, for all you know, those who have read the book series are now laughing at you, maybe. They have gone through this before you. This is me. Done for now. Peace out, people.